Hi everyone, John Martinson here in the jungle in Cambodia. I'm the founder of Robolinux. You can call me Robo, everyone else does. I've got some big news for you in this video. You can get the Robolinux 12 Plus upgrade for free with all three 12.08 versions now. If you currently do have an older version and you haven't gotten 12 Plus, you simply go to the website and you'll see where to sign up for it. It's on the download web page. There's even a button on the home page that you can click. But anyway, if you've installed 12.08, you would just click over here where it says free Robolinux 12 Plus, and that's actually the whole upgrade. And why am I doing this? Well, frankly, I'm tired of going homeless. This would be the fourth time. And so what I'm going to do is hope that some people will make a small donation if they can, and that will help me continue paying for food and the rent that we have to pay for, and the very expensive electricity here in Cambodia, which is, if you don't have it, there's no way you can run a development machine because you have to have an air conditioner running. Okay, but anyway, here's how you do this. Just follow these simple instructions. It's going to show you everything you're going to get as you scroll down. This is a massive $124.95 value. It's an unprecedented savings to you, and it is going to expire on August the 3rd. So, don't miss out. So, okay, so what do? You go all the way down to step one. Now, as you go there, it shows you how in just one click, after you've received your file, you can install 12 Plus. It shows you what you get, okay? I'm going to be showing you a couple of new things in Stealth VM. There's been some pretty interesting advancements there, so you'll want to pay attention to those. I'll try to go as fast as I can. Of course, we're hoping that people will activate their Untracker. There's a tiny fee for that, and the FAAST Boot and the Backdoor Security, and of course you'll get all these cool apps and new auto update, upgrade apps and I'll show you how you auto upgrade in a few minutes. But anyway, here's how simple it is. I'm not going to sell or rent your email address. People know I would never do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you how this works. Just type in your name, okay? And of course, mine is Robo. And I'm just going to type in my email address. Okay, and I'm just going to press the submit button, and it's going to send an email off to Robolinux, and then within a few hours during business days, you will receive your correct 12 Plus upgrade, because the operating systems know exactly which one you need. Now, so that's how you order it, and then you have step two. You've already done that. You've sent your email. Step three, you're just going to go to over here, and I'm going to do it for you right now. Watch this. You go over to your menu, and it's going to be the same thing in all three versions of Robolinux, whether it be Cinnamon, Mate, or XFCE. Go up to installers, and you'll see the 12 Plus installer, and then you'll just type in your password, right? And it will install it for you automatically. Okay. And it's going to take you to the FAQs. So that's, that's just so that you can get familiar with them. Of course, it knows you're using Cinnamon or Mate or XFCE. So All right, so back to the 12 plus. Now you'll note that I've been busy working on the Debian Mobian RoboPhone. Actually, there's a gentleman who's a Linux professor who's been helping us, and he's got it running in a cron now, which is pretty neat. So this is the upgraded version. We call it the version 12.2 because it's got a lot more memory and it's got a double size SSD in it, 32 gig. And so anyway, and you just click there and you can learn all about it, and it's not expensive. And of course, you know, it's totally, there isn't any Google anything, or, you know, it's really a privacy phone. And with the Untracker, there isn't a single contact tracer on earth who's going to be able to know who you are or where you are or anything. It even works with VPNs, and so there you have that. All right, now while we're on the internet here, I do want to point out that the reviews, boy, there's a couple of my favorite numbers, 7.7. Of the 58 reviews that have been done on Robolinux 12 series and 11 series, you're going to see lots of 10s. 10 out of 10, rating 10, 10. There's a 9, a 10, a 9, a 9, and a 10, and a 10, and another 10, and another 9, and another 10, and another 10, and it goes on and on and on. And it's interesting why we don't show up on even the top 100, but perhaps if you like Robolinux, like most people do, as you can see from the reviews, you can go in and click on Robolinux and help boost us up there a little bit, so people will know we're still in business. Okay, all right. So I'm going to close down the browser here, and I'm going to show you that we have all of the 12 plus menu options. Okay, we've got Stealth VM. Now, this is important when you first get ready to do a Stealth VM install. You want to make a decision whether you're going to go with Windows 7 Pro or Windows 10 Pro, if you're so inclined to put Windows on your machine running inside Robolinux, virus-free. And so you send an email off to, you just go to our contact form and say, hey, I'd like to get one of those nifty, legitimate pc.vhd files. And of course, I'm going to show you how all that works right now. But first, you've got to install VirtualBox, okay? So that's number one. And we're going to do that right now. And I'm going to pause the video as it installs and then come back to you. Now, as VirtualBox is being installed in one click, you have to configure the extension pack. So press your Tab key to highlight the OK and press Enter. And then hit the Tab key again so that you can accept the, because you're forced to accept their Oracle license. And so that's going to finish this up. And of course, what happens is that depending on what kernel you've got, then the VirtualBox is added to your kernel, and the extension pack is added to your VirtualBox. So now, while that's finishing up here, I'm going to show you what I've got ready to go. You would send an email and off to Robolinux and ask for a Windows 10 or a Windows 7. In my case, I've got a Windows 10 Pro. And let's just take a look at the size of this file that you're going to be downloading. 3.3 gigs. That's pretty amazing. Wait till you see what happens when I extract it. Now, I'm going to pause while I'm extracting because this does take time. It is a 3 times compression algorithm. That's what a tar LZMA is. You couldn't possibly get anything this advanced in Windows. But anyway, this is how you do it. You'll note that I've got my Fastboot Installer already ready to go. It's a custom. It's all based on what software is on this system. I've got my custom Untracker that I'm going to install. I've got my custom Robo Security upgrade installer as well. So I'm going to put the whole, take advantage of all 12 plus options. So here we go. We right click it and we simply start the extract process. Now what it does is it actually reads it. It's going to do a double extract is what it's going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. If you've got an SSD, well, it's going to do it very quickly, usually a couple of minutes. If you're on a spinner, well, you know, unfortunate for you because it's going to take a lot longer. And with SSDs being so inexpensive, actually I think they're even about the same price as a regular hard drive. There's no sense in using a spinner any longer. So I'm going to pause now. Now, as you can see, after it did the read, which essentially what it's doing is it's a two-part decompress. It's now extracting all the files from the Windows 10 Pro, which is a legitimate copy of it. You can enter your keys if you want to. After I've entered mine a few times, then they tell me that my Windows is no longer legitimate, which is a total lie from Microsoft. But anyway, so it's extracting now, and it's going to create a PC, as you can see, a pc.vhd file. And I'm going to pause again as it finishes extracting, getting ready for the one-click install from StealthVM. And as you can see, it is done extracting this 3.3 gigabyte LZMA tar file into a PC VHD, which is very portable, and it's now 9.9 gigabytes. Okay, so yeah, it was a 3 times compression. Pretty neat stuff. Now, what's going to happen during the StealthVM install is it's going to take this PC VHD file and convert it to a VDI file and put it into Virtualbox, and it will delete this PC VHD file, but you should take your LZMA PC VHD file and put it on an external drive. Now, I'm going to show you what happens when you load one of these nifty pre-built legitimate Windows operating systems. And so here we go. So, but maybe before we do that, I'd like to install my VPN and my custom Robo UNTRACKER. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll get over here to StealthVM, and we'll just go in and install that Windows 10 64 in one click. So I'm going to install my UNTRACKER because, you know, being a privacy person, which I believe everybody has the right to have privacy, I don't like Facebook stealing all my data, and Google. When people come into my house and they're using, or my room, and they're using a iPhone or an Android, those things are absolutely insidious. Someday I'll do a video and show you what they do. I can do a TCP dump and use a sniffer or Wireshark and show you what they're doing when they log into your Wi-Fi. And of course, you know, using the UNTRACKER is going to make you totally untrackable, untraceable, and anonymous, as long as you use a VPN along with it. Because most people don't realize this, but the who you are is your MAC address on a Wi-Fi, and that's any Wi-Fi. And the where you are is your IP address. And so you do need to have a VPN. And I've done a lot of research on VPNs, and I know that the best one on earth is PIA. It's amazingly fast. You can't even tell that you're actually using a VPN, no matter where you connect to, and I'll show you how all that works in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install my VPN first, and then I'm going to install my Robo UNTRACKER second, and so here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and pause while I go get my username and password from PIA. And it's going to ask me for the username, and of course you would have gotten that when you ordered your PIA, which you can do very easily here under Internet. You would just click over here and you can order an account. You can run this PIA on all your devices. I think it's up to 5 devices, so it's pretty neat. So I've got my username and my password. I'm going to log in now, and there is a new version. I'm going to go ahead and pause and install that new 2.10 version. Actually, I'll just start the process to show you how it works and then pause. And right now I've automatically been put on a Taiwan VPN server because that's the closest one to me. And as you can see, once it's done downloading, and it will automatically do this every time there's a new version, you press the install and it asks for your password again. And security is a big deal over there. The company got sold for $100 million. I think it was about a year ago. And I got to tell you, it's just what they did is simply amazing. Oh, look, now it wants to connect me to Singapore. But I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to go to the Bandia, U.S. Silicon Valley. Yeah. The ones that, you don't get me started. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and connect to them and just show you how amazingly fast. And believe me, the Silicon Valley it's a good 10,000 miles from me, as most people probably can figure out if they look at where Cambodia is and then, look at where California is. Okay, so now we're done with that. Now we are connected. Now let's check our IP address. It's changed, of course. And if I were to, let's say go to, I don't know, just go to Robolinux and look at this free 12 plus again. It's amazingly fast. I mean, look at that. It's like that for every single one of them. I mean, if I wanted to go change, for example, I wanted to go to, Switzerland, or, I mean, nobody has more servers. I mean, look at this. This is so incredible. I mean, Italy, Denmark, Bulgaria, Greenland, Israel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, UK locations, Luxembourg, Egypt, I mean, Sweden, Mexico, Kazakhstan. Don't get me started on that country. Finland, one of my favorites, of course, where Linus lives, or where he was born, I'm sorry. He lives in Oregon right now. Portugal, Malta. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, and they keep adding more and more servers. And you can see, for example, that the latency to Macau is only 43 milliseconds. So I'll just click that one, and we're switching over to Macau. And while we do that, we're going to install the Untracker. And so I just go up here, and because I have my Untracker file here in my downloads. I got a custom hand-coded Robo Untracker installer, and so I would urge you to do the same thing. You put it in your downloads folder, and you just go to the Untracker, and you go to the third option, which is the Robo Untracker installer, and type your password, and it will install it for you. And there's a lot of things you can actually do with the Untracker. I'm on an Ethernet cable because I prefer Ethernet, and I can set up a cron and drive the spy agencies insane by changing my MAC address every it can do it every minute if I want to. And the neat thing about Ethernet is that you don't actually lose your internet connection. Now, it tells me I have to reboot, but I'm going to do something slick. I'm going to go into, I don't have to really reboot. I can go to the manual Untracker, and it will just change my MAC address for me automatically, and I won't even lose my VPN connection. Isn't that a cool trick? Okay. So we rebooted after installing the Robo Untracker. Let's see if it worked. So we're going to go up to Robo UNTRACKER and we're going to run our untrackable, untraceable MAC addresses. And what we want to look at is the current versus the, let's see here, I forget what they call that. There it is. Your permanent MAC here was 9C, the current is AA, so it's totally different. It's an unknown manufacturer. That always drives the spy agencies crazy. Here we have a second Ethernet card, and look at the current is a 6E and the permanent is a 9C, so it does work. Now, if you want to set a cron or you want to run it manually, you can run it manually anytime you want to, right here, and you can even put it into a cron and run it every minute or 10 minutes or 30 minutes or once an hour. Note that when you're running a Wi-Fi, it is going to interrupt your internet connection, so don't do your banking when you're running a manual untracker or a cron untracker, unless you set it to several hours, because you don't want to be interrupted while you're online doing your banking. So now I do want to install FAAST Boot. Let's just see. We'll install it and then we'll reboot and we'll see how fast we've increased the boot speed of Robolinux. So of course we have a custom installer here for the FAAST Boot. Takes me about an hour to build each one of these custom installers. That's why I have a little fee for each one. It helps me buy food and stay alive. And I have oh my goodness, let's see, 3 children and another one on the way, and a wife, of course. And so anyway, okay, so let's go ahead and install the FAAST Boot. We just go over here to Fastboot Installer, and couldn't be easier. That's what I try to do. I try to make things really simple for people. I like everything to be one click. And of course make myself available to people to give them support, even if it requires using AnyDesk, and logging in and helping you sort things out that you couldn't understand or whatever. So it's finishing up the install, and I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and then do a reboot. And so we rebooted. Now I had checked the boot speed before I installed the Robo FAAST Boot, and it was slightly above 11 seconds. Let's take a look at it now that the FAAST Boot is installed. 6.272 seconds. Now, you also can tune it up anytime you want to. That's usually a good idea after you've installed a bunch of new snap packages or new software. It just optimizes your boot speed for you, which is pretty neat. So there's FAAST Boot, and that's that. Okay, so now that we have the UNTRACKER installed and we have the FAAST Boot installed, I want to install the Windows 10 Pro, which I downloaded, showed you before, as a PCVHD tar LZMA file. And when it was extracted, again, I'll show you that it comes up to a 9.9 gig file. Starts out as a 3.3 gig file. So let's go ahead and use Stealth VM to one-click install Windows 10 Pro. Menu, Stealth VM. Be sure that you pick the correct Windows. This one is Windows 10 64-bit. Here we go. This is not a license agreement. These are instructions. And it's going to ask us to enter our password because we must be a user of the VBox users group. So we'll type in our password. Now, as you can see, it started to convert the VHD file to a VDI. Now, there is no progress bar, so you just have to wait until it asks you for the amount of memory that you want to use for your VM. And that's really going to depend on how much RAM you have in your machine. I always recommend at least 4096 for Windows 10 or Windows 7. So that's what I will be typing in. I'm going to pause the video while it finishes converting. It doesn't take too long. On an SSD, about 1.5 minutes. And as you can see, it is done converting, and it's asking for the memory. So the default's 1024, which is wrong. So you type in 4096, and you press OK, and now you're done. Now, if we go over here into administration, we'll find Virtualbox. I like to put it over into favorites. So there it is right there. Now, what we're going to find is Windows 10 is now fully installed, and you can create shortcuts, and there's plenty of videos in our FAQs to show you how to do that, but I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and just start this Windows 10 Pro. Here we go. And of course, the first time you use Virtualbox, you get some pesky little boxes there that you want to get rid of at the top, and they won't show up the next time you load Windows, whether it be Windows 7 or 10 or even XP. So as you can see, we got the entire Windows 10 Pro installed in one click. And here's what I wanted to show you. You have the C drive to VM already built into here. Now, I'm just adjusting the screen size. And you will need to have the correct guest editions, depending on, see, it's telling us we need a new guest editions. So that can be done. But what I want to show you is that when I first created this, I had to use C drive to VM because that's the only way to really build a pc.vhd file that's going to actually boot. And so I had to put it onto the operating system, and this is what you're going to be using to clone your existing Windows. It's called Disk 2 VHD, and while I've got you here, I'm going to show you how to do it very quickly. So I'm going to double click that. Now you go ahead and accept that. Now here's the trick. You want to make this a all caps pc.vhd, okay? And what you'll notice is that it's highlighted the volume system reserved and also the C drive, okay? And never check the box use VHDX, and always check the box use volume shadow copy. Now, why did I show you this? Well, because when you add your software into your Windows operating system, you're going to want to make your own pc.vhd file that then you move over here into your documents folder, because that's what that nifty shared folder is here. And you would move it into here, and then you'd put it on an external drive. So there you have it. There is Windows 10 Pro installed in one click. And I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and show you how to do an auto upgrade. There are 7 12 plus new versions. So we go all the way from 01 all the way up to, to 02, all the way up to 07, and 08 will be coming out shortly. Each one of these auto upgrades are going to give you a lot of things that a normal Series 12 user cannot get. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you one of them, okay, and then you have to do the rest of them yourself. It will take you maybe a maximum of 5 or 10 minutes to take it all the way up to 12 plus .07. So let's go do the first one right now. Type in your password. It's really easy to do. And you can always check and see, by running the auto upgrade, you can always check and see whether or not there's a new version available. And see, right now we're taking it from 12.01 to 12.02, and I want to take it all the way up to 12.07. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. Okay, and so to find out which 12 plus version you're running, you'd go to the main menu and you'd simply go up to Internet and go to Robolinux News, Tips, Upgrades, and you will highlight that option. And at the bottom you'll note that it says Robolinux 64 Cinnamon 12 Plus .06. Please check here for up-to-the-minute Robolinux news. Now, many things have been installed during the auto upgrades that we did from administration and auto upgrade Robolinux 64 Cinnamon. Let's look at some of these things. You'll note that I installed my proper video driver. Okay, that's done through here. In Preferences, go to Additional Drivers. So I'm going to go ahead and run the last update, which is going to be 12 plus .07. And when I get done doing that, I'm going to run the system cleaner. I'm going to show you how that works. And that's going to keep your Robolinux operating system running as fast as possible. It removes a lot of cruft, and you'll see that in a minute here shortly. So here we go. I'm going to finish up here. Oh, before I do that, let's see what we got installed here. In accessories, we got EncryptPad. That's a really good one for those that have crypto wallets. Of course, I always recommend putting your crypto wallet on a couple of thumb drives, one somewhere in a safety deposit box and another one somewhere else. But anyway, so there you have this one. Now in sound and video, we got the simple screen recorder. Under graphics, we got the FlameShot, which is absolutely the best screenshot program. And let's see, what else did we get here? We got Zoom. We also got Telegram. These are popular applications that people like to use. If you don't like them, just simply go into administration, go to Synaptic, and you can uninstall them very easily. Notice that we also got our system profiler and benchmark. So you've got a system that is really loaded with a lot of handy applications. And the way these applications are chosen for the Robolinux auto upgrade is by listening to the user's requests. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up the last auto upgrade and see how fast these go. This one here is pretty neat. I'm going to show you the app it installs in a minute here. I'm going to go ahead and pause once it starts the process of going up to 12 plus .07. Okay, so let's see where we got to here with our auto upgrades. We went to version 12 plus 07. And I'm going to show you one of the niftiest things that comes with that auto upgrade. Let's see, that's going to have a, it's going to have a special, this is by far the most advanced system analysis program. It's called BPY Top, and this thing is just too cool. I mean, not only can you see the loads of each one of your CPUs, but you can also see the temperatures, which is kind of cool. Yeah, no pun intended. And how much memory you're using, how much swap, you know, what you've used on your hard drive. It's just remarkable, very customizable. So that one was added in 12 plus .07. Now, if we didn't know whether or not there was another update, we'd just go to administration and go back up to auto upgrade and run it again, and it'll tell us whether there really is another upgrade. And so 12 plus 07 is the newest version available, and that's that. So now it's time to run the system cleaner, which you should do. I think it's a good idea to run it at least every few weeks. And what we're going to see here is a lot of files we don't need, config files. Look at this, 356 meg of, let's just see what's in there. Oh, it's, lots and lots and lots of stuff that was installed. And we're going to go ahead and clean up our system. Just press the clean button, type in your password. And of course, if there's ever a new kernel, once you've rebooted, you can go ahead and remove all the old kernels that you don't need any longer. And you can see now the system is clean. So there we have it. We have installed, let's see, my goodness, 12 Plus has got so many things. We installed the Untracker so that we can change our MAC address and stop the spy agencies from knowing who we are. We have our our private internet access VPN, which is the fastest in the world. I highly recommend it. We're actually running a 188.214.106.85 IP address in Taiwan, and I can just click here. This is a desklet, and it'll tell me what my current IP address is. And now, of course, you can get to your desklets by going up here to your system settings and clicking here on desklets, and you can download them and manage them and remove them and add them and do whatever you like. So that's a lot of stuff. If I were to count the number of hours it took to build all of these 12 plus auto upgrades and everything else, it would be in the tens of thousands of hours. So you got 12 plus for free, and I would very much appreciate it if in your heart you feel that you would like to offer a small donation of some sort, something you can afford to help Robolinux continue staying in business. And it's so easy to do. Just go to Robolinux. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just load it from here and show you that every single one of our menu options, at the top you have a donate button. And of course now we're selling the second version of the RoboPhone. I think I showed you that earlier. Something to think about when you go out and about if you don't want to get quarantined for no reason. Getting traced and tracked. You will not be traced and tracked using a RoboPhone. And one of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to install my Brave browser because that's the one I prefer the most. So I just go up to installers and I install my Brave browser. And if I want it to be the default browser, then I can just simply go into my settings and go down here to my preferred applications and change it once I've installed it. I can actually hit the down arrow there and pick Brave, and then every time I go to the web I'll be using the Brave browser. I'm going to go ahead and install it anyway, and so I can show you one last interesting thing about Robolinux you probably weren't aware of. So I'm going to pause the video right now. We're almost done with this video. Sorry it took so long, but there's a lot of stuff to cover here. Okay, so I loaded my Brave browser and set it. It actually asks if you want to set it as the default browser, and I do. Let me show you something that I really highly recommend. I always recommend being de-Googled. So you load your settings in Brave and you go down, and I'm going to show you of course you have DuckDuckGo, Quant. I wouldn't use Bing because that's I'm not sure about Start Page. I haven't heard too many bad things about them, but look at this. Brave has their own search engine. Now, that's pretty neat. Let's just do a search in Brave on Robolinux, and I want to show you something. Now, when you do a search on Robolinux, what you're going to find here is lots and lots of great reviews. You know, it's the one that I think is quite interesting that came out in I think it was November of 2020, after I built all of these advanced applications, is a review that says that Robolinux goes way, way beyond typical Linux, and it explains how advanced it is, how fast it runs, explains stealth VM. This is the old 11 version, but all the stuff that was added to 11 was made available in the 12 plus. See here, they show you that the Untracker stops you from being tracked by evil internet hucksters. It's a great review. You'll see that you can install the Untracker on any of your Linux operating systems if you want to run multiple Linux OSs. So anyway, so that's Robolinux. It's a shame that I can barely support my family having all these great reviews and working my butt off. This is more than a full-time job, but that's the Linux desktop world. It's a choice that I made, and it's a life of poverty, unfortunately. Very few people want to help out, which is a shame. So there you have it. That's Robolinux in a nutshell. It's got all kinds of neat stuff in the 12 plus. I did not show you the Backdoor Security. That actually runs two different rootkit checkers, so that you can compare them, and if you have a false positive, then you'll see that it is a false positive, and they're very rare, but they do happen. So there we have it. I'd like to thank you for watching this fairly lengthy Robolinux video with some tutorials built into it. And I always end every single one of my videos with the small prayer to everybody, and that is that I hope that you have a lovely day in this absolutely crazy world, and may your Father in heaven, Yahweh, bless you and your family greatly.